The mockery and the machine, the red dirt of the Australian outback stretched endlessly under the blazing sun. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary was taking shape. 5 kilometers underground, in a facility that officially did not exist. Humanity's greatest gamble was about to be tested. Dr. Sarah Chen wiped sweat from her forehead as she studied the massive shape before her. The prototype designated Nemesis sat in the center of the underground hangar, and it was nothing like the sleek vessels that dominated galactic space lanes. Where alien ships curved and flowed like works of art, Nemesis was angular, brutal, and purely functional. Its dark gray hull was covered in sensor arrays, weapon mounts, and armor plating that looked thick enough to stop a meteor. "It's not pretty," admitted Captain Marcus Torres, the man who would pilot humanity's first true warship. He ran his hand along the hull plating, feeling the texture of the experimental composite materials. "But then again, we didn't build it to win beauty contests." Sarah smiled grimly. "The Galactic Council thinks we're primitives playing with scrap metal. Let them think that." Above ground, the galaxy was indeed laughing. The Terran Federation's announcement of their military prototype had been met with open ridicule from the established powers. The Xantharian Empire, which had dominated known space for 3 millennia, had released an official statement calling Earth's efforts charmingly naive. The Crystalline Collective had posted holographic recordings of their leaders literally falling over with laughter. Even the usually diplomatic Aquarian Commonwealth had made jokes about human engineering at their latest assembly. The mockery stung, but it also served a purpose. While the galaxy dismissed Earth's capabilities, humanity had been working in secret for 15 years. Every failed colony ship, every destroyed trade vessel, every humiliation at alien hands had taught them valuable lessons. They had studied their enemies, learned their weaknesses, and built something completely unprecedented. Admiral Rebecca Stone descended the elevator to the testing floor, her weathered face bearing the scars of humanity's early conflicts with alien raiders. She had lost 3 ships and 200 crew members to Xantharian pirates in the Titan Nebula. The memory still burned in her chest like acid. "Status report, Doctor," she said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had earned her rank through blood and sacrifice. "All systems are green, Admiral. The quantum resonance drives are calibrated, weapon systems are online, and the adaptive AI core is functioning within normal parameters." Sarah's voice carried a mixture of pride and anxiety. "This isn't just a ship, ma'am. It's an entirely new approach to space combat." The Admiral nodded. "Show me." What made Nemesis different wasn't just its appearance. Human engineers had abandoned the conventional wisdom that had guided starship design for centuries. Instead of focusing on maximum firepower or elegant maneuverability, they had built something that could think, adapt, and survive. The ships. AI didn't just follow programmed responses. It learned from each encounter, developing new tactics in real time. The weapon systems were equally unconventional. Instead of the standard particle beams and plasma cannons favored by alien militaries, Nemesis carried an arsenal of experimental technologies. Gravitational anomaly generators could create artificial black holes. Molecular disruption arrays could tear apart enemy hulls at the atomic level. And the crown jewel was the probability manipulation engine, a device that could literally alter luck itself within a limited area. Captain Torres settled into the pilot's chair, feeling the neural interface establish connection with his brain. "Beginning startup sequence," he announced. The ship hummed to life around him, thousands of systems coming online in perfect harmony. Through the neural link, he could feel the ship's sensors, like extensions of his own senses, could perceive the electromagnetic spectrum as clearly as visible light. "Take us up, Captain," Admiral Stone ordered. The massive blast doors above the hangar began to grind open, revealing a shaft that extended to the surface. Nemesis rose on repulsors, its bulk seeming to defy gravity itself. As it cleared the underground facility, the ship's adaptive camouflage engaged, bending light around its hull until it became nearly invisible against the desert sky. The first test was maneuverability. Torres pushed the ship through a series of increasingly complex flight patterns, watching as the AI core analyzed and optimized each movement. The ship didn't just respond to his commands, it anticipated them, making micro-adjustments that improved performance beyond what human reflexes could achieve. Weapons test, Admiral Stone commanded. A series of target drones launched from hidden emplacements across the desert. They were built to simulate alien craft, with armor and shields matching Syntherian specifications. Torres locked onto the first target and fired a short burst from the molecular disruption array. The target simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not vaporized, but literally unmade at the quantum level. "Jesus," Torres whispered. "That's nothing," Sarah said from the control center. "Show them the gravitational weapon." Torres targeted another drone, this one larger and more heavily armored. He activated the gravitational anomaly generator. Space twisted around the target, creating a brief but devastating artificial singularity. The drone was crushed to a point smaller than an atom before the effect dissipated. Admiral Stone allowed herself a rare smile. "How long before we can mass-produce these bats the problem?" Sarah admitted. "Each ship requires components that take months to manufacture. The quantum cores alone need materials that exist only in the hearts of neutron stars. We can build maybe one ship per year with our current industrial capacity." The Admiral's smile faded. "One ship won't win a war." "No," Torres said, over the comm system, "but it might prevent one." "Admiral, this ship doesn't just fight differently, it thinks differently. The AI core has been analyzing every piece of data we have on alien combat tactics. It knows how they think, how they react, how they expect us to behave, and is going to do the exact opposite." The test continued for 6 hours. Nemesis demonstrated capabilities that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size. It could accelerate to near light speed in seconds, maintain perfect accuracy, while executing random evasive maneuvers, and coordinate attacks across multiple target zones simultaneously. Most impressively, the ship seemed to get better with each test, its AI learning and adapting in real time. But their secret was already compromised. Light years away, in the cold void between star systems, a Syntherian stealth probe recorded every moment of the test. The data streamed back to Imperial Command through quantum communication arrays, reaching the capital world of Zenth Prime within minutes. Admiral Kethver of the Imperial Fleet studied the recordings with growing disbelief. The humans had built something unprecedented, something that violated every principle of proper starship design. It was crude, inelegant, and absolutely terrifying in its effectiveness. "Impossible," he muttered, watching the test footage for the third time. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. This must be some kind of deception." His aide, a young officer named Veltar, disagreed. "Sir, our sensors confirm it. The humans have developed something completely new. Their ship doesn't fight like anything we've encountered." Kethver's expression hardened. The Xantharian Empire had maintained galactic dominance through superior technology and overwhelming force. The idea that a primitive species like humanity could challenge that dominance was intolerable. "Assemble the Third Imperial Fleet," he ordered. "We're going to Earth." "Sir, what are your orders regarding the humans?" Kethva smiled coldly. "Total annihilation. We cannot allow this abomination to exist." Back on Earth, Admiral Stone received the intelligence report with grim satisfaction. "How long until they arrive?" 6 days, ma'am. Our deep space monitoring stations detected their fleet departing Zenth Prime this morning. How many ships? Confirmed contacts. 3 dreadnoughts, 12 heavy cruisers, and 42 escort vessels. Torres whistled low. "That's enough firepower to glass a planet." "Yes," Admiral Stone agreed. "It is, which means they're not taking any chances with us." She turned to Sarah. "Doctor, is Nemesis ready for combat?" Sarah nodded, though her face was pale. "As ready as we can make it. The AI has been running combat simulations non-stop. It thinks it can handle multiple targets simultaneously." "Thinks?" Torres asked. "Captain, we're in uncharted territory here. This AI is more sophisticated than anything humanity has ever built. It's not just following programming. It's genuinely thinking, learning, evolving. We won't know what it's truly capable of until the shooting starts." Admiral Stone studied the tactical display showing the approaching Imperial fleet. 57 ships against 1. By any conventional measure, it was suicide. But Nemesis wasn't. "Conventional? There's something else," Sarah added quietly. "The AI has made a request." "A request?" "It wants to choose its own calcine. Says Nemesis is too limiting. It wants to be called Defiance." Torres laughed despite the tension. "A ship with attitude. I like it already." Admiral Stone considered. This development, an AI that chose its own identity, was unprecedented. It suggested a level of consciousness that bordered on true artificial life. The implications were staggering, but there was no time to explore them now. "Very well. From now on, the ship is designated Defiance. Captain Torres, prepare for departure. Dr. Chen, I want you monitoring the AI's performance from the command bunker. If this thing goes rogue, I need to know immediately." As the sun set over the Australian outback, Defiance rose from its hidden hangar one final time. The ship's hull gleamed dully in the fading light, its angular surfaces reflecting the colors of twilight. It looked nothing like the graceful vessels of the Galactic Council. It was harsh, functional, built for a single purpose: to prove that humanity would not be dismissed, would not be conquered, and would not go quietly into the night. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's prototype. In 6 days, they would discover that the last laugh belonged to humanity. The battle that changed everything, the Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a swarm of metallic locusts. Admiral Kethba stood on the bridge of his flagship, the dreadnought Eternal Dominion, watching as his formations settled into attack positions. 57 ships of the line, each one a masterpiece of Xantharian engineering, armed with weapons that had conquered 1,000 worlds. "Deploy sensor nets," he ordered. "I want every piece of debris in this system catalogued and tracked." The human homeworld hung before them like a blue jewel, seemingly defenseless. Earth's orbital platforms were pathetic by Imperial standards, barely capable of monitoring local space traffic. The planet's defense fleet consisted of outdated patrol boats and converted cargo haulers. It should have been a simple extermination operation. Sir, reported his sensor officer, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. Something is launching. On the main display, a single contact appeared, rising from Earth's atmosphere on a pillar of exotic energy. As it cleared the planet's gravity well, the human ship became visible to their sensors. Kethfer studied it with professional interest. That's their prototype, he asked incredulously. The human vessel looked like it had been assembled in a scrapyard, angular, crude, with none of the elegant curves that marked proper starship design. It's even uglier than the intelligence reports suggested. His officers chuckled appreciatively. The human ship was roughly half the size of an Imperial cruiser, with thick armor plating and weapons that looked hastily mounted. By all appearances, it was exactly what they expected from a primitive civilization trying to play at war, aboard Defiance. Captain Torres felt his ship's AI analyzing the Imperial formation. The neural interface flooded his mind with tactical data as the AI calculated firing solutions, predicted enemy movements, and identified weaknesses in their deployment. They're using a standard battle formation. The AI's synthesized voice spoke directly into his thoughts. Dreadnoughts at the center, cruisers flanking, escorts screening. They expect us to engage frontally, and we're not going to do that. Are we? Torres replied. Negative. I have identified 17 critical flaws in their formation. Shall I engage? Torres opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. Admiral Stone, Defiance is ready to begin the dance. You are cleared to engage, Captain. Show them what humanity can do. Torres smiled grimly and released control to the AI Defiance. You have the ship. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations to come. Instead of charging directly at the Imperial fleet, Defiance suddenly accelerated to impossible speeds, its quantum drives bending space-time around the ship. The vessel didn't move through space so much as it relocated itself, appearing and disappearing across the battlefield in microseconds. Admiral Kethfer watched in disbelief as his sensors lost track of the human ship. Where did it go? His answer came in the form of a gravitational anomaly generator detonating inside his formation. 3 escort vessels were caught in the artificial black hole, their hulls crushed to singularities before they could even scream. The anomaly dissipated as quickly as it had formed, leaving nothing but empty space. Impossible, Kethfer roared. No ship can move that fast. Sir, detecting multiple contacts, his sensor officer reported frantically. The human ship is everywhere at once. Defiance wasn't actually in multiple locations simultaneously, but its speed created that illusion. The AI was executing a combat pattern that no organic mind could have conceived, much less implemented. It would appear at one position long enough to fire, then instantly relocate before enemy weapons could track it. The molecular disruption arrays began their deadly work. Imperial ships found their hulls simply dissolving at the atomic level. Armor that could withstand direct hits from plasma cannons offered no protection against weapons that attacked matter itself. One by one, escort vessels began disappearing from the Imperial formation. All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessel, Kethfer ordered. Saturation bombardment pattern Delta. The remaining Imperial ships opened fire, filling local space, with enough destructive energy to sterilize a continent. Plasma bolts, particle beams, and antimatter torpedoes converged on Defiance's last known position. They hit nothing. The AI had predicted the exact timing and placement of their barrage. Defiance materialized directly above the Imperial formation, having relocated to a position no sane tactician would have considered. From this vantage point, it had clear shots at the upper hulls of the enemy dreadnoughts, where their armor was thinnest, the probability manipulation engine engaged. Suddenly, everything that could go wrong for the Imperial fleet did go wrong. Weapons misfired, targeting computers glitched, power conduits overloaded. The careful coordination that had made the Xantharian military supreme began to collapse as systems failed in precisely the worst possible ways. "What's happening to our ships?" Cuthbert demanded. "Unknown, sir. It's like we're having the worst luck possible." Commander Lisa Park, monitoring the battle from Earth's Strategic Command Center, watched the engagement with growing amazement. "The AI isn't just fighting them," she reported to Admiral Stone. "It's making them fight themselves." The probability engine was Defiance's most exotic weapon, a device that could manipulate quantum uncertainties within a limited area. It couldn't violate the laws of physics, but it could ensure that every random event occurred in humanity's favor. Enemy weapons would misfire at critical moments. Their shields would fail at precisely the wrong time. Their tactical decisions would backfire spectacularly. 3 more escort vessels fell to friendly fire as their automated systems turned on each other. A heavy cruiser's reactor went critical when a routine maintenance cycle triggered at the worst possible moment. The Imperial formation, once a masterpiece of tactical deployment, became a chaotic melee as ships tried desperately to avoid their own weapons. Admiral Cuthbert watched his fleet disintegrate with growing horror. Withdraw to safe distance, regroup. But Defiance wasn't finished. The AI had been analyzing Xantharian psychology throughout the battle, learning how they thought, how they reacted under pressure, how their command structure functioned. It knew exactly how to break them. Defiance positioned itself directly in front of the flagship Eternal Dominion and simply stopped moving. The massive human vessel hung motionless in space, its weapons trained on the dreadnought's command section. "It's just ... sitting there," Cuthbert whispered. "Why isn't it attacking?" His question was answered when Defiance began broadcasting on all Imperial frequencies. But instead of Captain Torres' voice, it was the AI itself speaking. It synthesized tones carrying an unmistakably human quality of amused contempt. "Attention, Imperial fleet. This is the Earth vessel Defiance. You came to our system expecting to find primitives armed with crude weapons. Instead, you found something you've never encountered before, humans who refuse to play by your rules." The broadcast continued, and with each word, the demoralization of the Imperial forces grew. "Your formations are predictable. Your tactics are outdated. Your technology, for all its elegance, lacks the one thing that makes humanity dangerous: the willingness to think differently." On his flagship, Admiral Cuthbert felt something he had never experienced in 3 centuries of military service: doubt. This wasn't how space combat was supposed to work. Ships didn't simply appear and disappear at will. Weapons didn't attack matter at the quantum level. Probability itself wasn't supposed to be a tactical consideration. "Sir," his aide whispered, "perhaps we should consider withdrawal." Cuthbert's pride warred with his growing realization that they were facing something unprecedented. The human ship had destroyed or disabled nearly half his fleet without taking a single confirmed hit. Their weapons were beyond anything in the Imperial arsenal. Their speed defied conventional physics, and their AI apparently had a sense of humor. The final blow came when Defiance demonstrated its most devastating capability. The ship's hull began to shift and change, armor plates reconfiguring themselves, weapon mounts rotating to new positions. In seconds, the already alien vessel had transformed into something even more strange and threatening. Adaptive nanotechnology. Commander Park breathed as she watched the transformation. The ship can literally rebuild itself during combat. The psychological impact on the Imperial forces was immediate and devastating. They were facing an enemy that could become anything, survive anything, and apparently do anything. Morale, already shaken by their horrific losses, finally collapsed entirely. All ships, Kethfa said quietly, withdraw from the system. The surviving Imperial vessels turned and fled, leaving behind the wreckage of what had been the Third Imperial fleets. Glory. As they retreated into hyperspace, they carried with them news that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Defiance remained motionless as the enemy fleet departed, its sensors tracking them until they were beyond the system's edge. Only then did Captain Torres resume control of his ship. "Well," he said over the comm system, "I think we got their attention." Admiral Stone's voice crackled with barely contained emotion. "Captain, return to base immediately. We need to prepare for what comes next." "What comes next, Admiral?" "The entire galaxy just learned that humanity is no longer a joke. Every military force out there is going to want either to ally with us or destroy us before we become a threat. Either way, everything just changed." As Defiance turned toward home, its AI began composing a message that would be broadcast across known space. The transmission was simple, direct, and absolutely terrifying to anyone who had spent millennia believing in their own superiority. "This is Earth. We are no longer asking for recognition. We are no longer seeking approval. We are here, we are armed, and we will defend ourselves against any threat. The age of human deference is over. The age of human defiance has begun." The galaxy had stopped laughing. In its place was something far more valuable to humanity: respect born of fear, and the knowledge that the species from the small blue world was no longer anyone's victim. The prototype had done more than win a battle. It had announced humanity's arrival as a galactic power, armed with weapons and ideas that no one else possessed. The Empire's fleet was gone, but the real war, the war for humanity's place in the galaxy, had just begun.